Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Well, we got a bit of snow overnight, yesterday afternoon, overnight. Not as much as what they were predicting. They were there at the end, just before it really started. They were telling us, you know, the weather experts, 12, 14, 16, 18 inches. I don't know the official amount. I've been up most of the night, but I think probably around 8, maybe 9 inches is what it looks like that we got, which is still significant. But I mean, we get that. That's not that abnormal. You know, everyone was worried because like 16, 18 inches. That's pretty significant around here. But anyways, you know, the roads are covered. They're out there clearing them, doing a pretty good job of that. But you know, it's also like 2 degrees outside, so it's cold and slick, and it's dangerously cold, really. So had to just a couple hours ago help some stranded motorists that car broke down, and you know, this kind of weather before the sun comes up, that's not a good deal. So I got them taken care of. But anyways, so the whole Ukraine-Russia thing, I think, is going to become pretty prominent in the news soon. I mean, it already is, but you know, I think most Americans had kind of, they got tired of it. It hadn't really been talked about. No one really, you had to really go search out and figure out what was going on, because it wasn't really being talked about a lot. And that, I think, is about to change big time, because things are changing over there very rapidly. Russia has been bombarding Ukraine quite a bit in the last few days with attack drones. In fact, it was in the news that they hit Chernobyl, one of the coverings over the reactor, the one that melted down so many years ago. Didn't do any damage that they could tell, you know, at least, you know, nothing radiological anyways. But then there's all this talk between the Trump administration and Russia on potentially, you know, coming up with peace negotiations. It's kind of, you know, there's always two sides to all the stories, so we always have to keep that in mind. But American media is reporting that it went really, really well. The initial talk in Saudi Arabia between the Secretary of State and their Ministry of whatever, foreign minister, and they're saying that it went great. Russian media is reporting that, you know, it was lackluster event, that it wasn't what the Russians were expecting. It was okay, not bad, but nothing, you know, nothing to go home and be excited about. So we'll see how that transpires. There's a lot of talk about how the Trump administration is going to try, and of course this is kind of conjecture and theory and all this, but that they're going to try to rebuild or build new, because it's not ever really been that way, but build new relationships with Russia to try to alienate China from Russia. I thought that was kind of interesting, and you know, some of the things that Trump has said in the last, you know, day or two does indicate that there's, well, the road's really sorry about that. That may be, you know, kind of some truth to it. Trump has criticized Ukraine and Zelensky, blaming the start of the war on Ukraine, which I mean, most of you probably would agree with that. But he says that Zelensky needs to go. Russia says that there'll be no peace deal as long as Zelensky's in power. Zelensky says that he's there to stay, and he seems to be crying out to the Europeans to kind of back him up. Trump says that we want $500 billion in their you know, minerals and resources and stuff, and Zelensky says it's not going to happen. Trump is questioning where the $100 billion went. You know, it's back and forth. It's heated up. You know, the honeymoon period is long over with Ukraine, and now and originally when Trump first took office, and before he took office, he had kind of talked like he would still support. In fact, he did say that America would still be, supporting Ukraine, but that seems to be shifting pretty quickly. And I saw a thing in the news the other day that Ukraine will end up being a economic colony of the United States. So this is all kind of getting really weird. A few European countries have said that they would send peacekeeping troops to Ukraine. The United States originally said they would. Now they've backed off, saying they wouldn't. And I mean, I know it's all still preliminary. It's all still, in the works, but I think there's a lot more going on than just, okay, we work out some kind of, ceasefire peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. I think there's a lot more going on here. And as much as there are aspects of Russia and Putin's leadership that I think are respectable and good, we have to understand that, they don't have free elections there. Trump is saying that there needs to be a free election in Ukraine. Russia doesn't have free elections, not anyway like what we do. Putin's been in power for a long time because most of the people that run against him, end up dead or something ridiculous. So it's like we're all of a sudden making strange bedfellows, and it's Trump is kind of buddying up with Putin, but not so much with Russia, with China. In fact, on the State Department website, they've removed a certain wordage to say that Taiwan was part of China, and China's upset about that and is demanding that they replace that phrase or whatever on their website. So there's a lot of back and forth, and while I don't, one thing that I do believe Trump in, I don't believe he's necessarily wanting a war, but it's possible it could happen. And I know, and I agree with what many of you are probably thinking, that so what? It's Europe against, Russia and the United States. Come on. Well, who knows? China could get involved, and who knows whose side that China's going to be on. Probably both. Yes, Europe, they couldn't even protect themselves, defend themselves during World War II. So I get that, but still, it's strange bedfellows, and I'm not exactly sure if it's a good thing. I haven't figured it out. Is it a good thing to so rapidly change our allies? As much as we don't like or badmouth Europeans at times in certain countries and their policies, we have been allies with them for centuries, and to just up and turn our back on them, I don't know. I mean, let me know what your thoughts are, because I've been kind of bouncing this around in my head for a few days, and there's just something that doesn't set well with me on it. In the end, I think that there's a lot more to this than what we know. There's just a lot of strange goings on with it, and I think the possibility of some type of false flag event from the Ukrainians or the Europeans is becoming more and more likely. You have to understand that they have put a lot into Ukraine, and they may truly believe that Russia's going to invade parts of Europe after Ukraine, or maybe that's just something they say. But either way, they must begin to feel kind of painted in the corner. I think that's what they're feeling, and the likelihood of them, doing some type of false flag event or something to provoke Russia or something to whatever, I think is more and more likely. And so in the coming days and weeks, who knows what will happen. But things are shifting very strangely in that, and I think we need to be cautious and paying attention. You know, I mean, there's all kinds of other things domestically going on. You know, egg prices are crazy and inflation's up, and Donald Trump admits that it is, but of course it's Biden's fault, which I agree with that. But then on the other hand, Elon Musk is now saying that he wants to send out he's pushing for a $5,000 tax credit to all households in the United States, and or a check, send out $5,000 check to them. And I'm thinking, isn't that kind of how we got into a lot of this big inflation mess in the first place back in COVID, of sending stuff out? I don't know. I get it. You know, they're cutting back in spending and stuff, but still, it's just a lot. And I know that there's an excitement to it, and there's things that are being done that we all think are great, or, you know, man, it's about time they do this kind of stuff. But in the end, there's just a lot of stuff going on. And when there's a lot of change and a lot of kind of chaotic change, and it's happening fast, I think we need to kind of buckle up, folks. I would be on guard, stocking up, and just a general readiness. I've said this for the last couple of days. It's strange because it's like, you know that there's something going on, but you can't quite put your finger on it. You don't know exactly what you should be getting ready for, but you know you should be getting ready. So be doing that. For those of you that suffered through the cold and the snow and stuff, it looks like maybe one more night for us here tonight, and then after that it's going to start warming up a little bit more. So we just got to stick it out one more night. But folks, it's time to get your houses in order and prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.